I'm sure you've heard the news. Egypt's mysteries run deep. Ready for a glimpse? Zoom in. History's staring right back at you.
In history, there are many facts about ancient Egypt and pharaohs. They are very well connected. So let's go see what they are. The celestial architect. Cosmic precision in royal monuments. The architectural marvels of the pharaohs were more than grand tombs or symbol of power. They were cosmic instruments embedded with sacred geometry and astronomical significance. Pharaoh Khufu's Great Pyramid at Giza, for instance, is aligned with uncanny precision to cardinal points and the Orion constellation. Scholars suggest this wasn't more coincidence. Ancient Egyptian priests and architects possessed sophisticated observational astronomy skills. Orion, associated with the god Osiris, the deity of rebirth, was believed to represent the pharaoh's soul journeying into the afterlife. The shafts within the Great Pyramid align with the key stars, including Sirius, linked to the goddess Iris. These alignments suggest not only symbolic meaning, but also a belief in the stars as celestial pathways for divine ascension. Part 2. Akhenaten and the God of Light. The radical, heretic pharaoh. Among the most enigmatic pharaohs was Akhenaten, who disrupted centuries of polytheistic tradition by promoting a singular deity, the Aten, a solar disk radiating life and energy. His religious revolution was so profound that he altered Egypt's art, language, and capital city. The art under his rule portrayed elongated limbs, exaggerated features, and domestic scenes with his queen, Nefertiti. Her full name, Neferneferutet Nefertiti. Stark contrasts to rigid formulae of earlier dynasties. The new capital, spiritual centrality of the Aten, but his reforms alienated powerful priesthoods. And after his death, Egypt reverted swiftly to the old gods. Later rulers, including Tutankhamun, distanced themselves from Akhenaten's legacy, and his name was omitted from kings' lists, a rare act of royal erasure. Part 3. Hatzfests, the pharaoh who rewrote gender and power. Defying conventional gender roles, Hatshepsut re-emerged as one of the most successful pharaohs in Egyptian history. Though a woman, she adopted all the titles, regalia, and imagery of a male king, including the false beard. Her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri, nestled against cliffs, remains one of the most elegant architectural achievements of the New Kingdom. Her reign brought peace, prosperous trade expeditions such as famous voyage to Punt, and impressive building projects. Yet, her stepson and successor, Thutmose III, may have sought to obscure her legacy decades later, chiseling out of her image and cultures. Despite these efforts, modern archaeology has revived her story, revealing a reign that challenged societal norms and reinforced the adaptability of pharaonic authority. Part 4. Ramses the Great and the First Peace Treaty in History. Few pharaohs lived or ruled as long as Ramses II. known as Ramses the Great. His nearly 67-year reign was marked by enormous building projects, a proliferation of statues, and military campaigns. Perhaps most notably, Ramses engaged in the Battle of Kadesh against Hittite Empire, a clash that ended not in conquest but in diplomacy. The result, Team Peace Treaty, etched on temple walls and survived in both Egyptian hieroglyphs and Hittite cuneiform, is the oldest known international peace accord. While Egyptian records portray Ramses as a victorious warrior, the treaty suggests a more complex reality, one of mutual respect and recognition of the limits of empire. His temple at Abu Simbel, carved into rock and aligned to illuminate his inner sanctuary twice a year, stands as a momentum not just to his ego, but to his astute understanding and symbolism and spectacle. Part 5. Sacred creatures and divine companions. Pharaohs didn't rule alone. They were accompanied by animals revered as embodiments of the divine. Cats, in particular, were sacred to the goddess Bastet and often lived in temples and royal households. Pharaohs, such as Tutankhamun, were interred with mummified animals, cats, birds, and even lions, believed to accompany and protect them in afterlife. Crocodiles, linked to god Sobek, were also venerated in some regions. Certain bulls were deemed divine incarnations, notably by Apis bull Memphis, carefully selected and lavishly buried in underground tombs known as seperum. Recently, the architects discovered a old tomb of rams. How did rams go to Egypt? There was no way. That remarked the mystery of the ancient Egypt and pharaohs. Part 5. Tutankhamun's tomb and the curse that shook the world. Tutankhamun, if not King Tut, rule was brief and many accounts unremarkable until his untouched tomb was discovered by Howard Carter in 1922. The tomb's unprotected wealth with over 5,000 artifacts reignited global fascination with Egypt. Pharaoh's curse is a small rumor that you've heard for ages, right? So, among the golden chariots and jeweled death masks, rumors of a pharaoh's curse emerged when several individuals associated with the tomb's opening died under mysterious circumstances. Although modern society science has largely debunked the curse, citing mold, bacteria, and coincidence. It reflects the enduring mystique surrounding the pharaoh's journey to afterlife. Tutankhamun's tomb remains the most complete royal burial site ever found, providing an unparalleled glimpse into ancient Egyptian funerary practices. Part 6. Power behind the throne. Viziers, queens, and scribes. Though pharaohs stood up atop the hierarchy, much of Egypt's day-to-day governance failed to trusted advisors. The vices was the highest official beneath the pharaoh, responsible for justice, taxation, construction, and diplomacy. Imhotep, the vice-vicer of Djoser, was so revered for his intellect that he was deified after death. Queens like Nefertiti, wife of Ramses II, wielded the pharaohs as well. Part 7. dynastic turmoil and murder in the palace. The royal lineage of Egypt was not always smooth. Pharaohs often faced assassination plots and contested successions and civil unrest. Amenemhat I, the founder of the 12th dynasty, was allegedly assassinated in a palace conspiracy, a claim suggested in ancient wisdom texts and echoed in gaps in the record. The later Ramses II period was rife with internal instability, as completing heirs and high priests battled for legitimacy. Some pharaohs were reduced to figureheads, while others disappeared mysteriously, their mummies never found. The turmoil of the Third Intermediate Period fragmented Egypt into competing kingdoms, yet the concept of pharaoh, divine, eternal, endured even the chaos. Historical rituals and the pharaoh's divine role. Pharaohs were not merely rulers, they were gods on earth, expected to maintain Ma'at, the cosmic order. Religious festivals, like the Sed festival, rejuvenated the pharaoh's power, often celebrated after 30 years of rule and every few years thereafter. Rituals such as the opening of the mouth ceremony during mummification allowed the pharaoh's soul to breathe and speak in afterlife. During the Opet festival, the pharaohs traveled from Karnak to Laksha in a sacred bark, representing his symbolic rebirth and reaffirming his link to the god Amun-Ra. Many of these rites occurred in the restricted temple zones, accessible only to the king and high priests, reinforcing the pharaoh's mystical status. The Ptolemies and the last queen of Egypt. The final dynasty of Egypt, the Ptolemies, were Greek in origin yet adopted many Egyptian customs to legitimize their rule. Cleopatra VII, the last active pharaoh, was a shrewd and multilingual scholar who studied medicine, theology, and diplomacy. She ruled during a turbulent time of the Roman expansion, aligning herself with the Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony. Cleopatra was fluent in several languages, including Egyptian, unlike her Ptolemaic predecessors, and participated in native religious ceremonies, presenting herself as a goddess Isis. Her suicide in 30 BCE marked the end of the Egypt's pharaonic age, and with it, millennia of divine kingship. Mummification and magical protection. Mummification was more than preservation, it was transformation. The body of a pharaoh anointed, wrapped, and adorned with amulets and jewels. Spells from the Book of the Dead and coffin text guided the soul through trials in the underworld. Hurt scarabs were placed over the chest to prevent the hurt from betraying the deceased after the final judgment before Osiris. The intricate process involved over 70 days, numerous rituals performed by priests wearing masks of Anubis, the god of embalming. Each detail, from the golden toe caps to the inscribed shrouds, served to ensure a safe, eternal life among the gods. Temples of Eternity. The pharaoh's architectural legacy. The temples were more than a place of worship. They were pharaohs' eternal stage. Each pharaoh strove to outdo the predecessor in building more magnificent and symbolically charged temples. The Karnak temple complex, for instance, was expanded over generations, becoming spiritual and political nucleus of the Thebes. The hypostyle hall, with its towering columns carved in lotus and papyrus motifs, symbolized the creation of the universe. Pharaoh Seti I and his son Ramses II left their mark here, immortalizing themselves with heroological battle scenes and divine offerings. Every detail, from the axial alignment to the sacred lakes, served religious, astronomical, and propagandistic purposes, reinforcing the pharaoh's connection to the god and the people. So, we've done a lot now. I've taught you many things about popular pharaohs like Ramses II, King Tut, Akhenaten, Cleopatra IV, and many others. At last, now let's do a quiz based on what I taught. Question number 1. Which pharaoh aligned his pyramid with the Orion constellation? Answer A. Ramses II. Answer B. Khufu. Answer C. Akhenaten. Answer D. Tutmos III. Question number 2. Akhenaten's religious revolution centered on which deity? A. Amun-Ra. B. Osiris. C. Aten. D. Bastet. Question number 3. Which architectural site is most associated with the Hatzfest region? Answer A. Laksha Temple. Answer B. Abu Simbel. Answer C. Deir el Bahri. Answer D. Karnak. 4. The world's first recorded peace treaty involved Ramses II and which other empire? A. Babylonian. B. Assyrian. C. Hittite. D. Persian. Last question. The said festival was celebrated to answer A. Reaffirm the pharaoh's power. Answer B. Bury a pharaoh. Answer C. Honor a bastard. Answer D. Select new high priest.